Watch out for cheap letting agents, and I really mean that. Why would you go cheap when it comes to the management of probably your most valuable investment asset? You just wouldn't do it. But sometimes, I get it, we're so completely blinded by cheap that we miss value. Now, I'm not saying that you should pay over the top for letting agents, but I've just seen a letting agent with massive signage in their window saying 50% off all lettings fees. And I get it, it's just marketing, it's just business. But my worry is, why are they slashing their fees? Seriously, by 50%. Number one, they can't be making any profit on that, which is not very good for business. Number two, there has to be a reason why they're desperately trying to get more customers in. Maybe they're losing a lot of customers. Perhaps that's because of poor service. So they're doing dramatic advertising campaigns to try and salvage that. Look, letting agents are businesses. They have income and they have expenditure. If they're not generating as much income as they're spending on their business, then they're not in business. They're actually insolvent, which is pretty bad. I worry when I see cheap letting agents. I worry when I see letting agents slashing their fees in half to try and win new business. Now, don't get me wrong, please, I get it. They're advertising 50% discount because they want to bring in new business. My worry is, what else are they charging you? Because they've got to make money. You can't lose money as a business. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter whether you're a letting agent or an ice cream van. You can't lose money on your business. If you're going to be a landlord that's going to look for the cheapest letting agent you could possibly find, then do me a favor. Number one, consider the value. Why is this letting agent cheap? And ask yourself the question, do I want cheap or do I want value? Am I looking for a cheap letting agent? Because if you are looking for a cheap letting agent, then what you'll get is a cheap letting agent. But also do a bit of digging. Find out what all things that letting agent is going to charge you at all times, all throughout the year, so that you know exactly why their headline rates are cheap and you know where they're going to make their money. It's like an MOT. If you Google search MOT garage in my area and you see 3 different MOT garages, one of them's £10 for an MOT, one of them's £50 for an MOT, and one of them's £100 for an MOT, you're naturally more attracted to the cheaper. However, an MOT garage, their business relies entirely on them finding things wrong with your car to be fixed. That's their entire business model. It's their job. If they didn't do those things, they would not survive as a business. So you might pay £10 for an MOT, but you can guarantee that they're going to find every single thing that could possibly be fixed on your car, or they're going to sell you other things, other add-on services, different products or whatever. They're going to find things to charge you. And I don't think that's any different with letting agents. Look, my letting agent, which operates across most or half of the South Coast, we don't do that. We don't slash our fees. Now, that's probably right or wrong, I don't know. No one has the secret formula for business, but we don't do it because I don't want to be seen as a cheap letting agent. That's not what we're trying to go for. But also, if a letting agent is doing that cheap headline rate, then how are they making their money? Or, there's 2 sides to this as well. How are they making their money, first of all? Or, how are they going to continue managing your property reliably and responsibly in the future? If they're charging you half their normal fees, they can't be making profit on that. So how are they going to sustain their business to fully manage your property, your tenancy, your compliance, all your responsibilities as a landlord? How are they going to be able to do that? Are they paying less for their staff? And that enables them to offer you really cheap rates. Are they paying less for all of their IT and their infrastructure, which lets them charge you less? Are they going cheap themselves on other things? Are they using cheap contractors? Are they using cheap everything in order to be able to offer you cheap prices? If you're one of those people that needs to go cheap, then fine, go cheap. But just know what you're getting into. If you're looking for cheap, you will find it. I personally would never ever go cheap on services because you get what you pay for. I'm not saying that if you pay twice as much, you're going to get twice the service. Probably not true. And there are agents that charge a hell of a lot and provide the same service as everyone else. But what you've got to do as a landlord is work out what's the value. Most letting agents charge about 10%, and it changes whether you're in the northeast or the south. It's generally speaking, a letting agent down in the south is probably going to be about 10%. And what that enables the letting agent to do, number one, it enables them to generate enough income so that they can invest well enough in the business to be able to support you entirely. That's important. Number two, it enables them to be secure in their business so that they can always support you and your property and your tenants. So definitely make sure that the letting agent you choose is not a cheap and cheerful, and understand how they're going to make their money out of you, because they're a business, they have to make their money.